and we're back in record time.
I'm Sam Alexander, and we got a gentleman here. We're going to have a conversation this morning, and this is part of our continuing series of interviews called Voices of Harpswell. And this is part of the bicentennial project done by a group of us, and we've produced a pamphlet here called Shipyards and Shipmasters of Harpswell, Maine. We revamped it a little bit, added the Schofield Shipyard and a bigger map, but basically it's the same pamphlet that was put out by the Harpswell Garden Club in 1964. But we thought a reprint was in order, so this is our first project, and these ongoing interviews are another one of our projects. We're also got a group of people together to author chapters of a book, which we hope to publish next year. And this is all sponsored by a small grant from the Maine State Bicentennial Commission, and also a pretty generous grant from a Harpswell resident. And so, without further ado, what's your name, and what were your parents' names, and tell a few stories about growing up, would you please?
Yeah, I'll start in with me. I'm Ed Johnson. I was born on Oars Island, 1928. I'm the same age as Bailey Island Bridge. They built that in 28 and built me in 28. My parents, Albert Johnson and Bessie, and I'm one of 7, I'm in the middle of 7 children they had. They had 8 and one died of whooping cough.
Where did you go to school, Edward?
So I went to school on Oars Island. They had 2 rooms, for the primary and 3 grades in one room, 4th grade and 8 in another room. Daisy Gillum was my teacher the first 3 years. Edna Wilson was a teacher the next 4 years. Yeah. And from there, we graduated. We used to have graduation class. I graduated at Kellogg Church.
Right.
The class marshal, the fellow that had the whip, you know.
And where did you go to high school?
Went to Brunswick, but I only went a year and a half.
Yeah.
It was quite a job to get from Bailey Island, Oars Island, to Brunswick. It's all dirt road.
Yeah.
And a fellow by the name of Harold Farris used to have a pickup truck, and he'd haul freight and articles from Brunswick back and forth. So I think there was 4 of us got in the back end of that old pickup truck. He had it covered with canvas, and there was a bench in there. But it was all dirt road. The time you got to Brunswick High School, the exhaust from the muffler was half dead by the time I got there. So I took it for a year. The next year, I only lasted about 2 months and said to hell with it.
Yeah.
And then right after that, a fellow in the name of Willett in Brunswick started a school bus tour and picked the kids all up.
Yeah.
But we was 2 or 3 years ahead of him.
Yeah, my father, who was Sam too, went to Brunswick High School, but we had relatives on School Street in Brunswick, and so he stayed there with them during the week and only came home to Harpswell Neck on the weekends. And I think a lot of people did things like that because, as you say, transportation was pretty hard.
I think my parents paid 35 cents a trip.
Yeah, yeah.
We had a woman from Harpswell, a Bibber woman that taught at the high school. I remember her. Mm-hmm. I don't know what her first name was. I know she was a Bibber. So what else we got?
What did you do after school? Did you have jobs to do and chores at home?
Yeah.
Things like that?
Yeah. We had, we all worked
Yeah.
around the house. All of us that was big enough. We had, my father would get 6, 7 cord of wood. We had to cut that up, put in the woodshed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, everybody had to lug water. You know, we had running water. We run to the well with a bucket,
Yeah.
back again.
Same with me.
And where was we?
What was your first paying job? Did you go lobstering first when you
Well,
for money?
Well, I went with my father but,
Yeah.
when I was 15. Let me tell you about that. And then, because he built me 5 traps, and lobsters then was 18 cents a pound.
Yeah.
A fellow by the name of Rip Black used to come around in lobster smack and buy everybody's lobsters up. And the first catch, I got 2 lobsters. I got 35 cents. I thought I was rich. At 18 cents a pound. But you got lobster. I went with my father, sternman, and the warden, Jim Thurston was his name. He lived there on the island. He worked for the state warden. He come aboard us and he says, you know, Albert, if you're going to take that fella fishing, you ought to get him a license. So my father bought me a license, and the number was 684. That's how many licensed lobster catchers there was in the state of Maine. It was 684, and I was one of them. Well, I kept that number. When I went in the service, I was gone 2 years. When I come back, I had some lobsters. I applied for a lobster license. And I'll be damned if they had my name on the list, so I got my old number back again. So I lobstered then until I was in my 80s. How long, Laurie, was that?
85.
About 85, I lobstered.
Yeah.
Then they had people that had to sign up, and I give it to a kid up in one of the islands, up in Portland Harbor, I guess.
That's nice.
Because he had to go sternman so many years before he could get a license.
Yeah.
His name was on the list. He was a young fella, so I give him my license. I don't know if he still got it or not.
So you went lobstering most of your life.
Well,
Of course it's not over.
I did. When we get into dog fishing, that'll be the next item, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I fished. We used to fish for the dog fishing. I'd leave 3 o'clock in the morning and go fishing. Bring back the fish so they could work on them in the lab at 8 o'clock. Then after that, I'd go home and trap. I had 100 traps out. So
Wow.
I fished every summer for most of my life.
Yeah. Now, how did you catch dogfish? Did you
Just
use
hand
a
line
tub
them.
trawl?
No, just hand lined them.
Just hand lining.
And back then, there was tons of fish everywhere, dogfish. Now there's not any.
Yeah.
A dogfish, I don't know if it interests anybody, but a dogfish goes through a 2-year pregnancy period before they have their pups. And when they're born, they got a sac, yolk on the stomach. That keeps them alive until they can get there.
Wow.
I didn't know that until somebody told me. But we used to put up about 2,000 dogfish a year. And this was from Ward's Natural Science. It was out of Rochester, New York. And they'd done everything from the natural science. They embalmed frogs and earthworms and all this stuff, sent around to medical schools. I even learned how to put a skeleton together. I could have hang up, if you was a bunch of bones, I could put you all together. And I worked for them. The first year I worked for them, I dog fished out of, I had a punting outboard, and I fished out of that. And done some work in the lab for a little bit more money. And when they left, another guy, Ken Catlin was his name, he and I closed the lab up, put all the barrels on it. I think it was Nickerson's trucking, I'm not sure. And they took them to the railhead, and we shipped them back. And that fall, a fellow named Casey, he was my boss, he called up and wanted to know if I needed a job. So I went to Rochester, New York, in an old 1936 Chevy, pretty well beat up, but I got there after a while. And I worked my way up, done a pretty good job, I guess, because I was the next in line for the boss. Casey was my boss, and I was next to him.
Yep, good. Well, I know that you ran an oil business on the islands too, and owned and operated, I think Jim Davis ran it, but a filling station on Oars Island.
Yeah.
And
well, that was a bust. We didn't make, that cost more than we made. But we done all right with the oil business. We started in '58.
Yeah.
Bought an old stub nose Chevy truck, '62 Chevy stub nose with a 600-gallon tank, and bought oil off of Don Emro, the head of Whit Spring Hill, down to Bath. Paid 8 cents a gallon for kerosene, and sold it for 13 and a half, making barrel money.
Yeah.
But you know, whoever bought that, now, there's not much difference between 8 cents and nothing. There's not much for spread.
Yeah.
That's what I paid for, is 8
Yeah.
cents a gallon.
I remember back in the 1960s, I worked some on the islands with Lester Harris.
You worked at our house.
I worked at your house, yeah, and I remember you put in a long day. You were up early, as you say, dog fishing, and you went and hauled your traps, and then in the afternoon, evening, you delivered oil. And you must have done that for a lot of years, too.
Well, the dogfish people, they measured an outfit in Chicago, KDI. Yes, I don't know what it meant, but that's what it was. They wanted me to go. They'd relocate me. But I didn't want to go to Chicago. So then I only had the oil business and lobstering.
Mm-hmm. But still, that's a lot to do in a day.
Well, we had a mortgage to pay and kids to raise, and
Yeah.
just like everybody. And then we got that filling station. Shouldn't have got that, but I'm glad we did now because we got it rented. But we had hard luck with that.
Yeah.
Well, they come along. We had 2 tanks buried, and they made a law of some kind that you couldn't have buried tanks unless it was in cement casing or something. Everything we done went behind in that station.
Yeah.
Where are we?
Do
got
you want to talk about your days as a selectman for the town of Harpswell?
Yeah.
You and I were both selectmen, so I got an idea you got as many stories about that as I have.
Have you got time?
Yes, oh yes, we got time. We can do this all day if you want to.
Well, I'm running out of things on this paper.
Well, Talk about the bridge then, and Laddie Whidden's and
Well,
your part in it.
I'd love to talk about the bridge. Some people know about it and some people don't.
Yeah.
The first year I was in Selectman, that meeting we had with Dave Stevens on the Shellfish Trail, nobody wanted it.
Lady Bird, part of Lady Bird's
Yeah.
Johnson's beautification program.
Yeah, they were going to make restrooms and bathrooms and turnouts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's when I got to know Dave Stevens. Because then everybody turned it down, so I had to get a committee together and have them vote on it and then send the stuff to Dave Stevens. So anyhow, we got over to the townhouse one day and had things pretty well caught up, and Laddie says, "What do you think about putting a bridge across the Ewan Narrows?" Well, I didn't really know Ewan Narrows. It was always the Narrows when we were kids. You know?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was. So we talked about it for a few minutes, and I said, "Why don't we find out?" He'd done some research on it before I'd get in.
Yeah.
Found out about the Bridge Act and all that stuff. I said, "Why don't we find out?" So we made an appointment with Dave Stevens. And when Dave came in, the first thing he said, I got no money to spend in the town of Harpswell. Well, we figured it wasn't money we was after, it was just after. I think Laddie figured, now I'm not sure on this, I think he figured while that Bridge Act is still intact, if we could just get a name on a paper, you know,
Yeah.
and start something.
Yeah. I know Laddie, if he knew he was right and if he knew what he was doing was the proper thing to do, there was never a bulldog who was tougher than he was.
You couldn't change it. You couldn't change his mind.
No, sir.
So Dave Stevens says, before you build a bridge, you got to have a road to it. So I said, what does that mean? He says, it means you got to have a right-of-way, 150-foot right-of-way across that mountain. It's about 3/4 of a mile. They had aerial maps he showed us. And he says, first you got to find out why the state will approve this. Then you got to have it surveyed. Then you got to have a center line. When you can drive from Route 24 to Ewan Narrows, we'll talk about a bridge. So Laddie never spoke very much. But you look at his face, you can tell he was thinking. And when he spoke, it made sense. So we thought, well, we could do this. We got people on the mountain that can't get to that land, you know. Maybe it wouldn't cost much if we build a road so they could get to it. They might sign off. So they did. Didn't cost us anything for property damage till we got to where the bridge was going to go. And I can't say too much about this because an outsider owned it. We had to pay him, I think, $2,500. And here he was, owned all that land on Doty's Point, I guess, and was going to have a bridge put right on the end of his land so he didn't have to come by boat, and we had to pay him. And that aggravated both of us, me and Laddie both.
Yeah.
But we got the land. The first day we started cutting, it was in the spring. Everybody in town come around and volunteered. They brought chainsaws. Tell you about Louis Stewart. He was kind of short, had a short fuse.
Yeah.
He bought a chainsaw from Sears and Roebuck. Well, he was doing pretty good. Everybody else had hand saws and axes, you know. Well, he went to cranking on that chainsaw and it wouldn't go. He wound it around his head and swung it out into bushes. Well, somebody went and salvaged, got it back. He hadn't turned the switch on. So Louis was a good fella. So come noontime that day, he said, let's go up to McDonald's and get these people some sandwiches, hamburgers. So we drove up in his truck. I think we got 50, brought them back. Everybody gone home. So, but Louis done an awful lot for that, on that road. He got the contract for it. But George figured we went 800 feet that first day. Well, then the volunteer help cut back because fellows were setting the traps, you know. But we had a lot of, the whole town helped. Have I said enough?
Yeah.
So George got his bridge.
Yeah.
I got a townhouse. You want me to tell you about the townhouse?
Yes.
Well, because when we was in the old townhouse over at Harpswell, only had 2 rooms upstairs. One was a map room, the other one was an office. And when we got going on the bridge, I knew we were going to have a bridge, Laddie asked me if I'd be interested in doing the townhouse. Get a committee together. Mm-hmm. So I got a building committee, and we worked, I don't know, 2 or 3 years on it. And had a meeting, see what people thought, and they turned it down. Well, we had 4 acres on top of the mountain that we got from the Harris Company. We was going to put it up there on top of the mountain, but they was against building a road in there. It was harder to build a townhouse, to get people all together, than it was to build a road across that mountain. That mountain road come along, but people couldn't, everybody wanted something different in that townhouse.
Yeah.
And we had, in our sinking fund, we used to have a sinking fund back in those days. We'd raise so much money each year and put in the sinking fund. We had over $200,000. The committee all left. When they turned it down, the committee all left except for me and Chip Black. And we said, we just put it out for bid. Well, they got a townhouse, but they didn't get what they wanted. But now they do, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
But George and Laddie and his bridge, just think what it's done for the town of Harpswell.
Oh, yeah.
You got a new townhouse, you got a recycling plant. No more, twice while I was in Selectmen, they had articles in the warrant to separate.
Yep.
And twice it was voted down. And Laddie was against separation, so he voted, people listened to him.
Oh, yeah. He was...
But if they didn't have that bridge in there, people would be...
Well, for instance, where you said, mentioned that I did some work on your house. In those days, I lived on Harpswell Neck. I had to drive all the way around down Bass Road in Brunswick and all the way down to the islands. And then back again after I got through work in the afternoon. It made for a long day and a lot of driving.
Well, I done that for 3 years. That's when I was selectman.
Yes.
I got $1,000 a year and $250 of traveling expense. And I wore out every automobile I had going back and forth to Harpswell.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And my uncle was one of the ringleaders for separation. I don't admit this to many people, but I guess I just did. But anyway, it was kind of a family division there too, in lots of families.
That's right.
So it was divisive and all of that. But you're right when you say the bridge unified the town. It absolutely did.
Well, if we hadn't had the bridge, Harpswell, West Harpswell would be part of Brunswick. That's what they're going to do.
Probably by now.
Don't know where we were going to go on this side of the Harpswell.
Yeah, and people on Harpswell Neck should be thankful they aren't paying Brunswick taxes.
Well, Brunswick could have got it. There was a fellow that was in selectman that give the whole North Harpswell clam flats to Brunswick. You remember him, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I do. In fact, Laddie and I and several other people had quite a long fight over that one, and we lost. But and Laddie never gave up.
No.
He could not believe that the legislature of the state of Maine chose politics over the truth.
Well, Brunswick had the lawyers. Of course, they got a good piece of real estate.
Yeah, but it was a political decision. It wasn't a truthful decision.
That's what it was.
So I'm stirring the pot here, I guess, still. I haven't let go of it either. But Laddie never did let go of it. In fact, I think...
Didn't you survey that, put a carrying place sign?
Yeah, and we dug up all the historical evidence to prove where it was, but it didn't matter.
Did Gary Anderson work with you, didn't he?
Yeah, Dick Snow did in the beginning, but he bowed out, and then there was Gary Anderson, Laddie, myself, Amy Heibel, and a couple other people. John Lloyd, but we lost in the end. And a week before Laddie passed away, he called me up and said, could you come down to my house? We're having a meeting. Laurie Johnson's going to be there, and probably Ed, he says, and Gary's coming over, and we're going to have another meeting, and we're going to take this up again. And that's how determined he was.
He wanted Laurie to do some of the work for him.
Yes, and he thought in that way he was going to pass it off to the next generation to continue the fight. So there may be an opportunity in the future to take it up again, but right now I don't see any possibility.
I don't believe it'll ever go back.
No, and it's too bad. But it is what it is, and we'll make the best of it.
Yeah. But if this virus hadn't come through, Laddie would have seen the plaque on the bridge.
Yes.
Laurie, my daughter, she got it all straightened out.
Right.
And
but
he died just a short time ago.
Yes, he did. Great man.
He was the kind of a guy. He'd sat. You could tell when he was thinking. His whole face would change.
Mm-hmm.
But when he spoke, he made sense.
Yeah. He didn't say much, but when he did, it counted.
Yeah.
Well, do you still, I recall Edward, I call you Edward usually, and always have,
well,
because that's the way Chipper Black refers to you.
Yeah.
Everybody that I know calls you Edward.
Yeah.
And you used to play music. Do you still do that?
No, I took lessons, had an organ down cellar.
Yeah?
Well, I wasn't too musical. I think the guy gave up on me. But we got rid of the organ anyhow.
Right.
I could play some things one finger at a time.
Right. And I know that your wife Connie attends the Bailey Island Church, because my wife does too.
Yeah.
And were you a member of that church nowadays?
Yeah. They closed the Methodist church.
Yeah.
Won't be long, there won't be any churches. I was superintendent of Sunday school for a few years. And the last year, we had 103 kids in our Sunday school. Now I don't think there's 103 kids in town.
No.
All the old folks have come in here and driven the young folks out.
Yeah. The other thing is people just starting out with children can't really afford to buy a place in this town.
No. Well, I think we've lived through the best days, don't you?
I do, yeah. I have really nice memories of you and your family coming to Memorial Day parades on the neck and your Model A Ford.
Still got it.
And I missed you last year. We didn't have a parade. This year, rather, we didn't have a parade. I hope next year we do.
Well, I can't get in another thing. You have to bend your feet to get in and out.
Yeah.
I can teach Laurie how to drive it.
But you folks are part of the parade. There's no doubt about that.
Well, I worked with the Boy Scout troop, taught Sunday school, so select man,
Yeah.
and got married in 30th of May, 1951. We've been married 69 years.
Wow.
I'm 92 and she's 90. There's been some rough spells along the way, but we kind of smoothed them out after a while.
Yeah. Like reasonable people do.
Well, she's had a hearing now, so I no sense to growl at her because she can't hear me. Have we settled anything, Sammy?
Oh, I don't think we'll probably ever really settle anything, but it's nice to have a conversation and share it with people. And I think this is a valuable thing to for people to get to know you, and in that manner learn about the town of Harpswell. I think a lot of people nowadays don't have a clue about all these things that went on in the past, and that they need to know some of them to make good decisions nowadays. I think that's I don't watch selectmen's meetings anymore. I don't know whether you do. But,
No, I can't get it on TV.
But I kind of go on a rant if I sit on the couch and watch the selectmen's meetings, because there doesn't seem to be any memory, any municipal memory, so to speak, of these things that went on in the past.
It's all
They
business.
have to reinvent the wheel every time something new comes up.
Yeah.
But if they would just look at the past, I think they'd find the answers to a lot of the issues.
I think Laddie was selectman for over 30 years, wasn't he?
Yeah, he told me 27.
Oh.
That's a long time to be in that job, as you and I both know.
Well, for the pay that he was getting
Yeah,
and the problems that he had
Yeah.
to solve didn't seem to bother him much.
no. I don't know about you, but when I was selectman, people called me up at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night and holler at me about their taxes or holler at me about something else.
Yeah.
And so it got so, my wife and I didn't go out to eat at the restaurants around town because somebody would come up and take up something with you.
Yeah, it didn't bother me any. It bothered my wife, it didn't bother me any.
Yeah, I guess my skin must be thinner than yours.
Well, you probably a little bit more intelligent. You took it all in. I just let it go right by. But my wife never went. She got so she'd never go to the meetings that we had
Yeah,
because there's so much conflict, you know.
yeah, oh,
A lot of people, you couldn't do anything to make them happy.
yeah. Oh yeah, turns out that's the way it is in the whole country nowadays.
You remember old Bernadette Thurston?
Oh yes, yeah,
She had the dump. The dump was up back of her house.
yeah.
She called me up one morning about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And I can't tell you what she said. You can't put it on television. But the dump was smoldering up back then. Northeast wind just a little bit was coming down, and I knew what she was putting up with. But the way she said it, I laughed.
Say it.
Well, she got up in town meeting, and she turned me every way but loose. She forbid me to ever step on her property again. And you know, it's funny how people are. She got old and alone. I had power of attorney. Her sister asked me to have power of attorney. Got along fine as kind. But there, for that short time, she wouldn't allow me on the property.
Yes, yeah.
She wasn't very big, but she was wound tight.
Oh, yeah, I remember she could make herself heard.
Oh. She got in town meeting. That Ed Johnson, she says. And I'm telling you, selectman, don't you allow him on my property anymore.
Well, I remember Louis Stewart at town meetings over to Cundy's Harbor, and Herman Coombs was road commissioner, of course. And when that article came up on the warrant, Phil Johnson was moderator, and Louis would stand up, and he'd go on this speech for 15 to 20 minutes, real loud. A lot of people would leave. And then they would ask Herman to stand up and say something, and he would say, no, I guess I don't have to. And then Phil would call for the vote, and Herman would win, hands down, every year. Herman was a well-liked man in this town, and not to say they didn't like Louis. Louis turned out to be quite an advocate for the town, too. But I, as a kid, I always thought that was awful funny.
You talk about what I done for work during the war. I was 10 years old, I think, when they bombed Pearl Harbor. But everybody went to war, you know, all the young people.
Yeah.
When I was about 16, Kip Wilson was road commissioner on our side of town. And all the roads were dirt roads.
Yeah.
And the town had a road machine, you know.
Grader.
Grader.
Yeah.
And I used to drive the truck. And I remember one time we were dragging Bethel Point late in the afternoon. And down in double load, just creeping along, you know. I got tired evidently because I went to sleep, went off the road and got stuck. Had to walk over to get Louis Stewart to come over with his tractor and tow us in the mud. But I think I only got paid about, I don't know, $25 a week. We graded the whole Harpswell from the vegetable corner down to the shore. That was all dirt road.
Yes.
And all the back road, where the Merriman farm is, that was all.
Yeah. Allen Point Road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we used to have to. But didn't I hate that job? They couldn't get anybody else to do it. But just a fast idle, you know.
Yeah, I remember I did that a little bit with Arnold LeMay, and I agree with you, it isn't much of a job.
Didn't he take care of the dump or something over there?
Yeah, Stanley Merriman and Arnold did, yeah.
I forget, every once in a while people's names come back, and I wonder how I forgot them, but I can't remember very much.
Well, things pile up on you, I think.
Henry Barnes and Herman Moss built a boat for the dogfish people.
Yep.
And we towed it down to Lookout on the skid and put it overboard. That was the pride of the fleet, 36-foot long boat.
Right.
She was the pride of the fleet there for quite a while. Then the Estes had one built just like it.
Yeah, I remember that one.
And then Walt Lehman over Oars Island, he had one built just like it.
I remember them hauling those boats down the paved road there with 2 trucks.
Yeah.
Louis would usually do it. By the time they got down to Lookout, there wasn't anything left of those logs that the boat, or the cradle that the boat was on.
No.
And all the way up the road, there was these 2 wood fiber tracks.
Yeah. That's what they done. They took it down there on the low tide.
Yeah.
Well,
what would you like to say to kind of sum things up, Ed? Edward, I mean.
I would say, I probably shouldn't I've had a good life. People have been awful good to me. They bought my oil. They put up with my foolishness. And treated me, I thought, maybe I didn't know any different, but I thought they treated me awful good all my life. And I've got two nice daughters, 5 grandchildren. They've got good husbands. The only thing is, I'm getting old.
Yeah. The only consolation is it happens to everybody.
Well, I'm not very happy with the town people. Now, we got awful good neighbors, but they're older people. But what has happened in our town, when I was a kid, you could go anywhere you wanted to.
Right.
They come in, they buy a piece of land, and they put big boulders all along the edge, make it damn sure you don't get on it, or fence it off or something. Yeah. And it's just a different way of life, and
it is.
I probably shouldn't say that, but there's a lot of nice people come here.
It is different, no doubt about that.
Well, what bothers me is the way of life, like closing the churches, and it won't be long before the Billy Allen Church will be closed. They used to have a Catholic church down there, and that's closed. And the Methodist church is closed. Somewhere, somebody's got to believe in something besides dollar bills and politics. My mother, I talk about her a lot, but I think when she spoke, the angels listened. She had the knowledge. I don't know where she got it. She only didn't go to school very much. But the tide ebbs and flows twice every 24 hours. Then that's the highest and the lowest. Mm-hmm. And then 28 days, it starts all over again. It makes another cycle. No, I didn't know that, and I don't know how she knew it, but that's the way it works.
Yeah. I know Bill and Ada Johnson and some other island people came over to Grange every Friday night when I was a kid, and it was a good time. They filled the hall every Friday night. Yeah. So that's just one of my memories.
But none of that stuff anymore.
Yeah, they don't seem, the Grange is kind of fallen into decline, although we put on a breakfast every now and then that's well attended. It's turned into more of a community center than a fraternal organization. Yeah. So, but in those days, it was both.
I've been a Mason for 65 years. I was a Shriner for over 50 years. I got a pin for the Shriners. We give to that Shriners Hospital,
Right.
But I think that these things are going by too.
People
just found something different.
Yeah. They got the head stuck in an electronic device too much.
Well, that's right. The only thing we got in our house is 2 televisions. One in my room, one in my wife's. We can't look at the same thing together. She looks at one thing, and I look at something else. But I don't know what I'd do without her.
Right. Well,
you want to know about my purple hat?
Well, sure. If you have one, that's wonderful.
Well, the last morning I was in Korea, the day before I was in the artillery, and we had to go up on the line and set up. So our orders was go up and set up, take your duffel bags. This is the last day we were supposed to be there. Take your duffel bags and all your gear. We'll bring the replacements up, and you can get on the truck and come back. So we done that, and this is early in the morning. That night, we got set up. I dug a foxhole, which most of us done, but that kid didn't do it that time. So I was standing by I was a tractor driver. I was standing by the tractor, and this colored boy come up, and we started to talk. He was my replacement. And just then they started dropping mortars on us. He said, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "Come with me. I got room in my foxhole." Of course, the mortar goes up and it comes down. Bullets go crossways. So if they make a direct hit, they got every. So anyhow, go right on the edge of my foxhole. There was 2 guys in it, and got a direct hit. Killed them 2 guys, knocked me off in the ditch. And I come to a little bit later. Thought I was going to die last day in Korea. So this sounds kind of crazy. I closed my eyes and I saw a vision of my mother standing by the rose bush in the yard. Next time I opened my eyes, first there was a part of a body alongside me. I don't know, a bone sticking out about that far. I thought it was mine. But I had both arms and both legs, so I got on my feet and went down washtop. But when we went from there to Seoul to get on the convoy, they waited for me. And from there to Incheon, and from Incheon to Sasebo, Dijuan, where they have the departure, where they give you all clean clothes and check you off and all that. When I got to take my clothes off, my undershirt was stuck to my back. That shrapnel had gone skin deep across my back. If I'd have been back a half an inch or 2 inches, it would have cut me right in 2.
Whoa.
So that's how close it was.
Wow.
But anyhow, well, not only that, they wanted to send me to sick bay, and I said, well, I've had enough of Korea. So they put us on a troop ship. It was one of these old Liberty ships made down the Bath, I think. There was 800 of us got on that. We got out, well, I don't know how far, 3-4 days off, and they come up with a speaker that we're going to catch the edge of a typhoon.
Oh.
And that old boat, a ship, she had funnels on deck, you know, for the cool air to come in through. And of course, they plugged them all off. There we was, below deck, and that old thing would roll down so the propeller would churn dead water, you know. And after the 3rd day, they let us I was on the F deck. They let us come up on deck for 20 minutes on the stern deck. That old thing would go down in them seas. I never saw water pile so high. She'd go down them seas, and then pretty soon up she'd come. But anyhow, I got home, and I got a Purple Heart. So I almost didn't get home.
Well, that's remarkable.
But I didn't know who the kids was that got killed, because I got on the truck before. So I took my grandson. We went to a reunion. I met the sergeant who was in charge of that. And I thought it was my fault that colored boy got killed, because there was 4 of us there and 3 of them got killed. I thought it was my fault. And that bothered me for a long time. And he said that boy took off in the other direction. He didn't follow you. But he said, you shouldn't feel too bad. If that kid that you'd been with for 2 years had dug his own foxhole, he'd have been in his foxhole, you'd have been in yours. So he said, you'd have been dead and he'd have been alive. And that's the way life is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
But that's my Purple Hat.
Attaboy.
I get a free cane. Well, you think they'd give me a straight one? And I get a free license plate from the state. Have you had enough of my foolishness?
Yeah. If you're done, we're done.
Can we just talk two quick things about how COVID has affected you? And also back about what it was like to go into the Army, coming from Harpswell and going to basic training.
Well, I'll tell you, it's no fun. Of course, we was there at the end of World War II. There was about 10 years difference between then and everything. We had an 8-inch howitzer, for instance, a big one. It shot a 200-pound one projectile, and you separated. But it was all full of cosmoline. All had to be washed. All the rifles had to be washed. So the first month, that's all we done. Then when we got all that stuff done, we had a young sergeant. I think he was still on mother's milk. I don't know. He wasn't very old. But he broke us out of the camp, lined us up, going to police the area, pick up everything you see. Well, we walked along, didn't see anything. And he said, well, you didn't do a very good job. So he turned us back, made us get down on the hands and knees. I was 23 years old. Nobody had ever got me to get down on my hands and knees before. But I had to do it at that time. Pick up somebody's cigarette butts. Well, I think the guy that put the cigarette butts there ought to pick them up himself. But I was too old for boot camp. Well, a lot of us was. And, you know, you're pretty well set when you're 23 years old.
Considerably different than being out in your own boat hauling lobster traps.
Yeah. But that was the first. And we was down in Leesville, Louisiana, with the snakes and the chiggers and the snakes. And then we got in Korea. We had the Thanksgiving in Busan. Then we went on the line, and we had our first casualty Christmas morning, killed on the gun. A fellow from Shrewsbury, Massachusetts. The Sergeant Kearns, he was like a grandfather type of fellow. He was a real nice guy. Broke us out, and we was in tents, 8-man tents, and he lined us up, and he said he had a thermometer with him. It was 30 below zero, and he took it from the mess tent and brought it over and showed us. He says, you're 6,000 miles from home. He says, and it's 30 below zero. He says, and you don't know what you're going to see. We had to stand guard duty at night. And along one side of us, we had trip flares. If anybody hit it, they trip the flares. But the other side, we had to stand guard. And you didn't know whether one of them chinks was going to come up and cut your throat or what it was going to do. But he said, if anybody comes up and from the other side, and he blinks his eye, shoot him. Well, that's a hard pill as well. You know, you don't very often shoot somebody. He said there's a thin line between a hero and a damn fool. He says a damn fool will be laying face down in the dirt. The hero will be going, whether he's a friend or a foe. And I never forgot it. But I never had to shoot anybody.
Good.
But that 30, I never seen it 30 below zero before either.
Well,
Sleeping in a tent. We'd sleep,
COVID.
and I suppose the moisture from your breath, there'd be icicles, that's crystals hanging down off the ceiling of the tent.
wow.
You had to roll your mess gear, your bedding up so it wouldn't get wet. But that didn't last too long. We didn't have any snow, but we had a lot of cold.
Tell them why you're so healthy.
Why am I so healthy? I'm 92 years old. I never smoked a cigarette. I never had a drink of liquor. And I'm too damned old now to start. Well, there's so much stuff.
Yeah,
So much stuff goes with that liquor I saw growing up, you know.
yeah.
I had an uncle that was 41 years old. He died, alcoholic, nothing. He left a wife and 3 kids, and the oldest one was 10 years old, for somebody else to take care of.
Yeah.
He just couldn't get by without that liquor.
Yeah, it's ruined many a good person.
But I must have other faults. I'm healthy. But nobody's perfect, so there must be something wrong with me.
Has COVID affected that? Or is it not worth it?
Has COVID bothered you?
Did what?
COVID bothered you? Has COVID bothered you? The fact that you're isolated, does that bother you, being in the house from the COVID, from the virus?
Oh, I don't care a damn.
Yeah,
Well, I can't do anything. I do mow the lawn. I got to ride the mower. I mow my lawn, mow my neighbor's lawn. But I have to do something for them. Here, they bring over a whole meal, all cooked, all nice and hot for our lunch.
nice.
Nicest people.
Great neighborhood.
No, I don't care. I haven't got anything to lose.
Right?
And everything. My father had this
Anytime.
Parkinson, shaking. That's what I do. My hand shakes.
Yeah.
And he was in good health, and he weighed over 200 pounds at one time. When he died, I don't think he weighed 85 pounds. He couldn't eat. He just laid in bed over a year, had bed sore. And I'm afraid that's going to happen to me.
Yeah. Well,
We keep it moving.
yeah, as long as you keep moving, you'll probably be all right.
Well, I move, but you have to line me up with something to see them.
Yeah.
You just can't, you
Yes, my father used to say to me, once you hit the rocking chair and stay there, it's all over. So my motto is keep moving.
well, I have trouble getting that out of my chair.
Yeah, good.
We
And
just-
thank you for coming here today and sharing all this with us.
Well, it's good seeing you. You've been a pretty good buddy all these years.
Well, I know good people when I see them.
Well, I don't think anybody knows me. I've outlived everybody in town.
Yeah, my father used to remark that it's lonesome. When he was older, when he got to be 80 or so, he said it was lonesome. My mother had died, and most of his friends were gone. So that was what he thought about it.
Well, what bothers me the most, I feel like I'm a nuisance. All the kids wait on us. Now, Laurie brought me up the other day. She takes me to the doctor's, writes down all my pills. I'm a nuisance, but I can't help it.
No.
Now, I can't write my name because my hand shakes so. I have trouble eating. I had a grandson, made me a spoon and a fork. He brought the handle down, made a 90-degree angle, so I I use the spoon most of the time. I can't keep anything on the fork. So.
But you've got your
Yep, you
wits.
still got your wits
Brain.
and still pretty sharp.
Yeah.
Well, I never did know much. I only had a year and a half of high school.
I think that's probably the biggest non-statement I've ever heard, that you didn't know much. I think you know a lot.
Hey ho, roll and go around Cape Horn to San Francisco. Shantyman, sing, boys, pull on the line, and we're back in record time. Now at Bath down in Maine, they built many tall ships. They were paired up and flanked and launched down the slips. The strength of our nation was built on the pine of the mast trees that harnessed the wind. There was schooners and sloops and all kinds of small craft. There were warships with cannon both forward and aft, and the queens of the seas, downeasters and clippers, mighty proud men were their skippers, with their hey-ho, roll and go.